What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 121st installation of the Red River Shootout between the Oklahoma Sooners and the Texas Longhorns down in Dallas at the Texas State Fair. First thing I want to say before we get into my predictions for this game are everything you think you know, everything you think Vegas knows, the betting lines, the odds, the predictions. Take it out, crumble it up, throw it away, because this is a game where you just never know. Take out the records. One team could be 0-5 and one team would be number 1 in the country, and it could be a close game. The 0-5 team could win. This game, you truly never know what's going to be in store. First off, let's start talking about the Oklahoma Sooners in this football game. And glaringly obvious, the biggest question is, who is that starting quarterback? Are we going to get Michael Hawkins, who was a starter last week, or is John Mateer going to be healthy in time to go in this game? That's the biggest question. And truly, I don't think we will know as fans, like I said in my last video, until the day of the game. When the SEC injury report's mandatory, we will know if he is out indefinitely or if he's going to be a doubtful to a probable to a game time decision is what I think will happen. I also think a probability with that injury is that we'll see kind of what Ole Miss did when they put in Austin Simmons for a few key plays against Arkansas. Do we see the same thing with John Mateer? And we'll use him some, but not a lot. Get him in for maybe 5 to 10 total snaps in this football game. If the guy is Hawkins in this football game, how does that change the way we game plan against this Texas defense? They don't allow the run, and we have not been great at giving the run. It goes hand in hand. And Michael Hawkins is not a guy who's built to go back there and throw the ball 45, 50 times like John Mateer is. So it changes the game plan. Do we get a lot more read options? Do we get a lot more designed quarterback runs out of Michael Hawkins if he's the guy? For this Oklahoma game, this is our true first road test. Yes, it's a 50-50 environment, but half that game, you're going to be going into the Texas faithful, 50,000 young and loud, going against you. I think ultimately for Oklahoma, the biggest game plan here on offensive scheme and defensive-wise is we're going to game plan a lot like we did against Michigan. Against Michigan's offense and Bryce Underwood, we wanted to make him beat us, not the rest of their team. Brent Venables' defense is going to come in and say the same thing of let's make Arch Manning beat us with his arm, which he has yet to prove to anybody he can truly do. Against Sam Houston State and San Jose State, obviously he was decent, but he wasn't even spectacular in those games enough where we truly respect his arm. So I think we're going to make him beat us with that. Granted, they have Sark on the other side calling plays, which I think that it could bite us in the butt on a few plays. If we play with a one safety hiring, no safeties in the box, we could get beat on some deep shots. And that brings me into my next point is our D-line is going to have to get home. Sark likes a lot of these long developing routes and these deeper routes, 15, 20, 25, 30 yards down the field. Arch has not yet been able to have enough time in the pocket to get to those reads. If Oklahoma's defensive line can get home like we have been against all of our opponents, including good teams like Michigan and Auburn, this will make this day hell for Arch Manning, as he won't be able to get any of his reads, and he's going to be pressured immediately. Another talking point on our defense is we're allowing 128 yards through the air per game this season. That is absurd. In the day and age of college football we are in, where offense is king, and we have teams giving up 500, 600 yards of offense per game, we're allowing just 128 through the air per contest. That is crazy, especially we have played two good teams in Michigan and in Auburn. Also for our defense is you're going to have to force turnovers. Like we did against Kent State, we got 2 of them. We got the interception, the scoop and score touchdown forced by R. Mason Thomas. Against Texas, they have been turnover prone, especially Arch Manning. Can we force those turnovers and create good momentum for our offense headed forward to go score? For Michael Hawkins, he didn't look great against Kent State. He looked okay. He had a few bad balls, but he also had a lot of great looking throws and good passes. The biggest thing is he's going to have to stay confident, especially being a starter again this year. Granted, he did start last year, but I don't know if he was ever truly fully confident in the offensive scheme, and with his weapons, he never had anything to get him going. This year, he has a game under his belt, better weapons on offense, better play calling. Can he use those to have a good game? And also for the Oklahoma team, on offense and defense, you have to stay level-headed. This is a game where it is extremely easy to get into the other team's head and make them have bad penalties. Oklahoma can't fall to that, and they can't give it up. It goes both ways. Both teams have to stay level-headed and stay low on the penalties. This is a game where you can see 5 to 6 unsportsmanlike conducts just on stupid after the play. Headed over to the Texas Longhorns, your defense got beat bad last week against Florida. That Florida offense was horrible that year. They had 63 passing yards against Miami. Oklahoma's offense is going to make you pay in the same ways that Florida did if you run the same scheme to defenses. Also for Texas, your O-line got torched by Florida. Florida had 36 pressures coming into the game last Saturday. Total on the year, they had 35 in that one game. They doubled their yearly production on pressures to the quarterback in one game against you. If you think Florida's D-line was scary, wait till learn Oklahoma, buddy. Oklahoma's D-line is much better. It has much more physical weapons and rotation depth than that Florida team did. We might get 50 pressures if they're on the same pace. Also for Texas, you're going to have to get your pre-snap motion to help Arch read the defenses. Sark's going to have to scheme up some things where we can get into motions where we can realize, hey, they're in man. Arch, here's your man beater route. Throw it here. Arch, we know they're in zone. Here's your soft shot zones. Receivers need to sit down in those zones. With how Arch has looked, Sark has to do better at scheming easy game plans for Arch to get him to get to his first and second reads. One of Big Arch's biggest problems this year has been a lot like Jackson Arnold, where he sits in the pocket too long and tries to get in 5 or 6 reads when he only has time to get in 2 reads and he takes a sack or he throws a bad interception. Also for Arch Manning, where's his confidence at right now? He is still uber talented, but he hasn't shown it. Can Oklahoma get in his head and make him be unconfident? Make him not be confident. Make him be a second led on those throws. Give your safety time to get over and get the pick. For Texas, they've been really bad at running the football. Same for Oklahoma. Both these run offenses have been extremely bad after what we expected coming into the year. But Sark's offense is so much more built around the run than Ben Arbuckle's offense is that if Sark can't get a good run game, it almost completely takes away what he likes to do in the passing game. And for an offensive mastermind like Sark, it's extremely infuriating for him and for his game planning. If OU can stop and stifle the run of Texas, I think it opens up an enormous pathway for us to win this football game. But if we can hold them to under, let's say, 100 rushing yards, that is it. I think you win the football game handedly at Oklahoma. Also for the Sooners, how can you go win that turnover battle? We have watched Arch Manning throw an interception in every game except for at UTEP. How can you go in and force him to make those turnovers? We have watched him do it a lot this year. OU's defense has to go force them. We've only forced 2 turnovers, both those against Kent State, but you have to go in and force turnovers against Arch Manning, who's turnover prone. And for Sark, how can he game plan against Oklahoma's explosive defensive line? We are going to stop the run. We are the best run-stopping defensive line in the entire country, according to the metrics, and we're the number 2 defensive pressure rates in the entire country. How can Sark game plan around minimizing what that D-line can do? You're going to have to roll out Arch a lot. I think Arch gets a lot of plays where he's leaving the pocket early to give himself just an extra second to be able to read the ball and throw the football. I think my overall takes for this game are going to be which team can establish that constant quarterback pressure and make the day a problem for the quarterback. If Oklahoma can get home to Arch Manning play after play after play without having to bring blitzes, Arch Manning's going to have a tough day, and I see no path for Texas to win. On the flip side, Oklahoma's offensive line is going to have to do a very good job at helping Michael Hawkins, who's a less experienced quarterback, in these situations. If Texas's D-line can get home against Oklahoma, the day can get really difficult for OU and Michael Hawkins, who got sacked 3 times against Kent State last week. Texas has a much, much, much better D-line that can get way more than 3 sacks. I think offensive-wise, overall, which team can get the run game going? Both run games, I said, have been horrible. Who can get them better to open up the pass game? The first team that can get the explosive plays down the field, they don't have to be touchdowns, but those 20, 25-yard plays are going to be crucial as both defenses are so good at stopping. They bend, but they don't break. Both defenses are like that. Who can get the 20-yard, 30-yard touchdown plays that limit their red zone? Because both teams are great at red zone defense. Which team's quarterback is going to be more mobile in helping their offensive line not struggle as much? But also, which defensive line can get more tired by that quarterback being mobile? I think it's going to be Arch Manning. Arch Manning just has better legs, and he's not as good of a runner, but he's a better thrower of the ball when he's out of the pocket on the run than Michael Hawkins is, which I think is where Arch Manning has a big advantage, is if he can get that OU D-line tired and make them be rotating constantly, Sark can run hurry up and can really tire out the defensive line. I think maybe the most impactful moment of this football game could be when one of these teams make a huge play on special teams. I'm talking Isaiah Satania, 50-yard punt return, or a blocked kick like we've seen in previous years, or a blocked punt for a touchdown for Texas. Which team's special teams can create that big play and give the huge momentum booster to their team? And I think that could really be what sets off the winning team to go catapult into dominating this football game. And I think that the play that happens with what we've seen, I think it's going to be Isaiah Satania, punt return touchdown, I think that with him being able to do that, I'm going to go with a final score prediction of 31-20. Give me the Oklahoma Sooners. Because of how good their defense is and how much they can limit the run, it really shrinks Texas's playbook. And Oklahoma's defense is so good at just bottling up teams that I think OU holds them to only 20 points. On the flip side, Oklahoma has a dynamic enough offense, and if we can get Jaden Ott going like we did last week, I think Oklahoma can easily score 24 plus, 28 plus. I think they end with 31. With all that being said, guys, those are my takes on the Oklahoma Sooners facing the Texas Longhorns down in Dallas. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a comment down below talking about what to talk about next week, and leave a like, subscribe, and thank y'all for tuning in. Boomer.